Alright everyone, it's time for Occult Literature, video number 275, Hinduism. This is a little work, 49 pages, so it's booklet length, sort of a short to intermediate read. Link in the description of my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links are to my books, blogs. If you're interested in sort of the religious history aspect of things, I'm getting quite a few works, esoteric Buddhism, even Christendom, some of these other titles from the Creation series actually. This is a very good series from the early 20th century. So there are other links available there if you want to peruse them. Also, announcement, I'm converting as many books as possible to KDP. The threshold is different because Amazon offers some of these for free, and of course if there's a free version of it, then you don't need mine. So I'm trying to KDP them, but it's going to take a while. Like, you can only do so many per day. It takes a little while to process files and stuff. Anyway, this particular work is interesting. It's mostly a list of terms and gods. So it's a list of the different deities and some of the other figures, the lesser beings, the godlings as they would call them at the time, within the Hindu pantheon, their basic form, their basic function, and a little bit about the history of how Hinduism developed. Because some people think of Hinduism, they think, oh, it's the Hindu religion. There are two major schools within Hinduism, technically more. There's the Vishnu and the Shiva sort of aspects. The former is more common. Definitely preferred by the author, by the way. He seems to think that the Sivite sects, actually, that they're given over towards a wanton materialism or sexual depravity, which in some cases is true, but not necessarily in all. You've got certain groups that are more Brahma-centric. Ganesha figures heavily in all of the different schools. And then you have these smaller groups, like he talks briefly about the Agori who engage in literal cannibalism. Consuming the dead, smoking pot and getting drunk and peeing on each other and stuff. It's a form of attempt to detach from the physical world. See, of course, if the basic idea is, hey, I want to escape this physical realm and materialism is bad and is holding me back from godhood or something, why wouldn't you crucify the flesh? It's a bit of like the flagellants, actually. The author seems to have a negative view largely of the Agori for, back then, 100 years ago, European and American minds that were studying these different sort of Eastern schools, they were definitely applying a heavy veil of westernization in their judgment of the different groups within these religions. It talks about Buddhism, framed, of course, in its relation to Hinduism briefly. Hinduism is older, of course. And sort of the different, throughout time, the progression of the different ethos within Hinduism, the rejection or the acceptance of certain materialisms, the banning of alcohol at different times by different groups, the influence of foreign figures, especially from Islam, into parts of Hinduism at times. And basically it's a terse religious history combined with various statements about the deities. So it's a basic primer, but it goes into enough detail that it's definitely of use if you're interested in potentially being a Hindu or certainly studying it from a historical perspective. This work manages to compress a great deal of material into a very short span. I like works that do that, by the way. I like these works from the Creation series because they leave out the bullshit. The flowery theatrical filler that you find in a lot of books that you get a book, it could be 50 pages long and tell you everything it's telling you, but it's 200 pages. I never liked that. It seems unnecessary. It's literally a waste of paper at some point. When you go through 10 paragraphs to say what you could say in a couple of sentences, I have very little respect for authors like that, unless they're operating within the realm of fiction. Then it's totally different, and I like a lot of alliteration. I like really long, I like run-on sentences, I like hyperbole, I like really, really great descriptions. In non-fiction works, keep it terse, keep it pithy. So again, link in the description of my edition of this work on Amazon. Very good, highly recommended as part of this Creation series. I got 3 or 4 more works within the series still to do. Huge number of titles. Second and third links to my books, blogs, if you're interested in this topic. I think I have 2 other works that are largely about Hinduism, including The Hindu Astrologer, which has nothing to do with Hinduism and is a Western zodiacal system, by the way. That's about all. Peace out.